Hi guys, welcome to the third session of our physics class. In the previous session, we discussed about resistors in series and parallel connection and we solved some problems related to that. In this session, we are going to discuss the heating effect of electricity. Heating effect of electricity and its uses. So to start with, can you list out some of the electric heating appliances around you? Electric stove or electric heater, electric room heater, electric iron, electric kettle, immersion type heaters, etc. There are a lot of electric heating appliances around us. Why they are called electric heating appliances? Because they are instruments that make use of the heating effect of electricity. As we learned in our early classes, electricity is the form of energy which can be easily converted to other forms. Here, the electrical energy is converted into heat energy in them. That is why the electrical heating appliances are called so. So, do you know this appliance? As you know, this is a soldering iron. Can you tell me the energy change that takes place in the soldering iron? Let us check. For that, I am plugging it into a socket. Let me turn the switch on. Let us wait for a few seconds. Now the current is passing in the soldering iron. I am placing the soldering iron on this wax, and slowly the wax is melting. I think you can see. Now the wax is melting. You can see the fumes also. The wax is melting. Okay, let me switch it off. So now tell me, what is the energy change that takes place in this soldering iron? Yes, electrical energy is converted to heat energy. And this is the part where this electrical energy is converted to heat energy. Can you name this part? This part is known as heating coil. Why this heating coil alone gets heated even though current passes through these conducting wires? Here the heating coil and the conducting wires through which electricity enters these appliances are in series connection. So the current through the conducting wire and the heating coil is same. So according to Joule's law, whenever equal quantity of current passes through two conductors in equal interval of time, then the heat produced in the conductor is directly proportional to its resistance. Heating coils are made up of materials with high resistance. That is why even though same amount of current passes through the conducting wire and the heating coil gets more heated. So what are the peculiarities of this heating coil? Heating coil are having high resistivity, high melting point, ability to remain red hot condition for a long time without getting oxidized, and the thermal expansion is negligible. These are the peculiarities of the heating coil. And you know which material is used to make heating coils? Heating coils are made up of nichrome. Heating coils are made up of nichrome. And nichrome is an alloy of nickel, chromium and iron. It is an alloy of nickel, chromium and iron. Why the nichrome is used as a heating coil? Or what advantages of nichrome made use of it in electric heating appliances? Let us answer. The first one is high resistivity. Second point, high melting point. I think it is around 1400 degrees Celsius. Then third one, ability to remain red hot condition for a long time without getting oxidized. And the last one, thermal expansion is negligible. Thermal expansion is negligible. These are the 4 characteristics of nichrome. So, high resistivity, high melting point, ability to remain at a hot condition for a long time without getting oxidized, and the thermal expansion is negligible. Which are the circumstances that cause high electric current in circuit? They are short circuiting, and overloading. What is short circuiting? If the positive and the negative terminals of a battery or the 2 wires from the mains come into contact without the presence of a resistance in between, they are said to be short circuited. I will repeat it once again. If the positive and the negative terminals of a battery or the 2 wires from the mains comes into contact without the presence of a resistance in between, they are said to be short circuited. Let's see what is overloading. A circuit is said to be overloaded if the total power of all the appliances connected to it is more than what the circuit can withstand. Here, if the multi-pin socket cannot withstand the power consumed by these 3 adapters, we call it as an overloading. You have heard about safety fuse. Safety fuse is a device that works on the heating effect of electric current. And the main component of a safety fuse is the fuse wire. And fuse wire is an alloy of tin and lead. Tin and lead. And the fuse wire is having very low melting point. These fuse wires are always connected in series to the circuit. When more current passes through a circuit as a result of overloading or short circuiting, more heat is generated in the circuit. Since the fuse wire is connected in the circuit, what happens as a result of more heat? This fuse wire melts due to its low melting point. Let's see why the fuse wire used in a circuit is called safety fuse. During the entire time of passing of electric current through a circuit, a small amount of heat is generated in the fuse wire. But this heat is transmitted to the surroundings. When the current that flows into the circuit exceeds the permissible limit, that means due to overloading or short circuiting, more current will flows into the circuit. So what happens? The heat generated becomes excessive. Since more heat is generated in unit time than the heat transmitted, the fuse wire melts. Safety fuse is a device which protects us and the appliances from danger when an excess current flows through the circuit. That is why the fuse that is connected in a circuit is called as a safety fuse. When a fuse wire is included in a household wiring, what are the precautions to be taken? Let's see what are the precautions we have to take. The ends of the fuse wire must be connected firmly at appropriate points. The fuse wire should not project out of the carrier base. Use the wire of proper amperage. The ends of the fuse wire must be connected firmly at appropriate points. The fuse wire should not project out of the carrier base. Use the wire of proper amperage. So let's see what is amperage. That is the ability of the fuse wire to withstand the intensity of the current flow according to the appliances in the circuit. We know that we will use different types of fuse wires for different appliances, and the ability of the fuse wire to withstand the intensity of the current flow according to the appliances in the circuit is amperage. So we have to use proper amperage fuses for appliances. You might have noticed the marking of 500 watt, 200 watt, 100 watt, etc. on electrical appliances. What does it indicate? It indicates the power of the instrument. An electric device works by making use of electrical energy. The amount of energy consumed by an electrical appliance in unit time is its power. So power can be written as P is equal to W by T, and the unit of power is watt, capital W. According to Joule's law, the heat generated, that is H, in a circuit in an interval of time T, or the work done, is H is equal to I square RT. Work done is equal to I square RT. And this work is done in a time interval of T seconds. So time is equal to T seconds. So how is the power calculated? P is equal to W by T. So here W is I square RT itself. So I square RT by time is T. T and T gets cancelled. So I square R. So P is equal to I square R. By Ohm's law, we can write I is equal to V by R. By substituting the value of I in this equation, P is equal to I square R, it becomes V by R the whole square into R is equal to V square by R square into R. R and the square get cancelled. So V square by R. So P is equal to V square by R. This is the second equation. And we can write this R from this equation. That is, R is equal to V by I. V by I. So by putting the value of R in this equation, P is equal to I square R, we get I square into V by I. Here I and square get cancelled, so it is IV. That is, P is equal to VI. This is the third equation. So these are the three equations to find power. You have three questions in page number 22. Let's discuss one by one. The first one, an appliance of power 540 watt. An appliance of power 540 watt, that is W is equal to 540, is used in a branch circuit. If the voltage is 230 V, what is its amperage? So the voltage is 230 V. We have to find out the amperage. So the amperage is equal to wattage by voltage. So is equal to W by V, that is 540 by 230. Let's divide 540 by 230. 2 times 460, 80. 3 times, 800 decimal. We have to put 0. 3 times we will get 0, 9, 6, 10, again 1 0. For 4 times we will get 0, 3 4s are 12, 1, 2 4s are 8 plus 1, 9. So the answer we can write it as 2.34, which is approximately equal to 2.4 ampere. The second one, the heating appliance has a resistance of 115 ohm. So the resistance of the heating appliance is 115 ohm. If 2 ampere current flows through it, what is the power of the appliance? 2 ampere current flows through it. What is the power of the appliance? We have three equations to calculate power. First one is P is equal to I square R. Second one is P is equal to V square by R. And third one is P is equal to VI. Among these, we will choose the first one. That is, P is equal to I square R is equal to 2 square into 115. That is 4 into 115 is equal to 115 into 4. We will get 5 4s are 20, 2, 6, 4. That is 460 watt. So let's step to the last question. That is, the current of 0.4 ampere flows through an electric bulb working at 230 volt. The current of 0.4 ampere flows through an electric bulb working at 230 volt. What is the power of the bulb? P. Among these, we'll choose the third equation. P is equal to VI is equal to 0.4 into 230. So 230 into 4, 0, 3 4s are 12, 1, 9, 120. By putting one decimal place here, we'll get 92 watt. So that is the answer of the last.
ചിത്രത്തിൽ കാണിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന സർക്യൂട്ട് നോക്കൂ. ബൾബിന് താഴെയുള്ള സ്വിച്ച് ഓണാക്കുമ്പോൾ കറണ്ടിന് 2 പാത ലഭ്യമാകുന്നു. ഒന്ന് ബൾബുള്ള പാത. ഇതിൽ ഫിലമെന്റിന്റെ പ്രതിരോധമുണ്ട്. 2 ബൾബിന് സമാന്തരമായി പ്രതിരോധം വളരെ കുറഞ്ഞതോ ഇല്ലാത്തതോ ആയ എസ് എന്ന പാത. സ്വിച്ച് ഇട്ടപ്പോൾ വൈദ്യുതി പ്രതിരോധമുള്ള ബൾബ് വഴി പോകാതെ പ്രതിരോധമില്ലാത്ത പാതയായ സ്വിച്ച് വഴി പോകുന്നു. ഇതുമൂലം കറണ്ട് ക്രമാതീതമായി വർദ്ധിക്കുന്നു. വയറുകൾ ചുട്ടുപഴുക്കുന്നു. ഇത് ഷോർട്ട് സർക്യൂട്ടാണ്. ഇത് നോക്കൂ. ഇവിടെ മെയിൻ സർക്യൂട്ടിലെ 2 കമ്പികൾ തമ്മിൽ കൂട്ടിമുട്ടിയപ്പോഴും പ്രതിരോധമില്ലാത്ത പാത ഉണ്ടായതിനാൽ കറണ്ട് ക്രമാതീതമായി വർദ്ധിച്ചതാണ് സ്പാർക്ക് ഉണ്ടാകാൻ കാരണം. വീടുകളിലും മറ്റും ഒരു സർക്യൂട്ടിന് താങ്ങാവുന്നതിലുമധികം ഉപകരണങ്ങൾ പ്രവർത്തിപ്പിച്ചാലും സർക്യൂട്ടിൽ കറണ്ട് ക്രമാതീതമായി വർദ്ധിക്കും. ഇതാണ് ഓവർലോഡിംഗ്. ഓവർലോഡിങ്ങും ഷോർട്ട് സർക്യൂട്ടും മൂലം സർക്യൂട്ടിൽ തീപിടുത്തവും മറ്റുമുണ്ടാകും. ഇതിൽ നിന്നും നമ്മെ സംരക്ഷിക്കുന്ന ഉപകരണമാണ് സുരക്ഷാ ഫ്യൂസ്. ഫ്യൂസ് വയറിന് താഴ്ന്ന ദ്രവണാങ്കമാണുള്ളത്. ഫ്യൂസിലൂടെ വൈദ്യുതി പ്രവഹിക്കുന്ന സമയത്തെല്ലാം ഫ്യൂസ് വയറിൽ ചെറിയ അളവിൽ താപം ഉൽപ്പാദിപ്പിക്കപ്പെടുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിലും ഈ താപം ചുറ്റുപാടുകളിലേക്ക് പ്രേഷണം ചെയ്തു പോകുന്നു. എന്നാൽ ഷോർട്ട് സർക്യൂട്ടോ ഓവർലോഡിങ്ങോ മൂലം ക്രമത്തിലധികം കറണ്ട് സർക്യൂട്ടിലൂടെ ഒഴുകുമ്പോൾ ഫ്യൂസ് വയറിലെ താപം അത്യധികമായി ഉയരുകയും വയർ ഉരുകി സർക്യൂട്ട് വിച്ഛേദിക്കപ്പെടുകയും ചെയ്യും. സർക്യൂട്ടിൽ ഘടിപ്പിച്ചിരിക്കുന്ന ഉപകരണങ്ങളുടെ ആംബിയറേജ് അനുസരിച്ച് വൈദ്യുത പ്രവാഹ തീവ്രതയും വ്യത്യാസപ്പെട്ടിരിക്കും. അതിനാൽ അനുയോജ്യമായ ആംബിയറേജുള്ള ഫ്യൂസ് വയർ തന്നെ തിരഞ്ഞെടുക്കണം. സുരക്ഷാ ഫ്യൂസ്. ബൾബ് പ്രകാശിക്കുന്നത് കണ്ടില്ലേ? എക്സ്, വൈ എന്നീ ബിന്ദുക്കൾ ചേർത്ത് ഒരു കോപ്പർ വയർ വെച്ചപ്പോൾ അത് ബൾബിന് സമാന്തരമായി പ്രതിരോധം വളരെ കുറഞ്ഞ ഒരു പാത കറണ്ടിന് നൽകി. ഇപ്പോൾ ബൾബിൽ കൂടി കറണ്ട് ഒഴുകുന്നില്ല. സർക്യൂട്ടിലെ പ്രതിരോധം കുറഞ്ഞതിനാൽ കറണ്ട് വളരെ കൂടി കണക്റ്റിംഗ് വയർ ചൂടാകും. ഇത് തീപിടുത്തം വരെ ഉണ്ടാക്കിയേക്കാം. ഇതാണ് ഷോർട്ട് സർക്യൂട്ടിംഗ്. ഇവിടെ കാണുന്നതുപോലെ മൾട്ടിപിൻ സോക്കറ്റുകൾ ഉപയോഗിച്ചോ മറ്റു രീതിയിലോ ക്രമത്തിലധികം ഉപകരണങ്ങൾ സർക്യൂട്ടിൽ ഘടിപ്പിച്ചാൽ കറണ്ട് ക്രമാതീതമായി കൂടും. ഇവിടെ സർക്യൂട്ടിൽ ഒരു ഫ്യൂസ് വയർ കൂടി ഘടിപ്പിക്കുന്നു. ടിൻ, ലെഡ് എന്നിവയുടെ സങ്കരമാണിത്. ഇതിന് ദ്രവണാങ്കം കുറവാണ്. സർക്യൂട്ടിൽ ഷോർട്ട് സർക്യൂട്ട് സംഭവിച്ചപ്പോൾ ഫ്യൂസ് വയർ ഉരുകി സർക്യൂട്ട് വിഘടിക്കുന്നു. ഇനി കറണ്ട് നിലച്ചതിനാൽ അപകടമില്ല. ഓവർലോഡിംഗ് സംഭവിച്ചാലും ഫ്യൂസ് വയർ ഉരുകി പൊട്ടി സുരക്ഷ ഉറപ്പാക്കും.